Have you ever done something every single day thinking it was harmless or even helpful, only to find out it could be slowly raising your risk of prostate cancer? There's a daily habit many men over 60 perform without thinking twice. It feels routine, normal, even necessary. But science is now revealing that this one act, done repeatedly, could be silently influencing the health of your prostate. And the worst part? Most doctors don't warn you until it's too late. Welcome to today's video from our source for proven senior health guidance, where your health, independence, and strength matter more than ever. We're diving deep into the surprising connection between this overlooked habit and your risk of prostate cancer. So don't skip this. The truth may shock you. Before we continue, take a second to like this video and subscribe for more updates. We break down complex science into simple, actionable steps that actually make a difference in your life. Now, let's unravel the mystery. Let's start with the big picture. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer among men worldwide. If you're a man over 60, your risk naturally increases with age. But age is just one part of the puzzle. Environment, diet, genetics, and behavior all influence the likelihood of developing this disease. And now, a specific habit, a habit many older men do daily, has been thrust under the microscope by researchers. The results? Startling. To understand how this habit could be increasing your risk, we need to understand how the prostate works and why it's so vulnerable as men age. The prostate is a small, walnut-sized gland located just below the bladder and in front of the rectum. It plays a crucial role in producing seminal fluid. As men get older, the prostate tends to grow. Sometimes it just enlarges benignly, a condition known as BPH. But in other cases, mutations can occur in the cells of the prostate, setting the stage for cancer. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, but necessary. Many researchers and urologists are now examining the effects of prolonged sitting and sedentary behavior on prostate health. Yes, sitting. It seems innocent, right? But it's not just sitting itself. It's how much, how often, and what it does to your body on a deeper level. Let me paint the picture. Imagine the average day of a retired man over 65. He wakes up, maybe reads the newspaper or scrolls through his phone over breakfast. He then sits in front of the television for a couple of hours. Later, he might drive somewhere, again sitting. Then lunch, more sitting. Maybe some time on a recliner. Then dinner, maybe a show or movie to wind down. Add all of that together, and we're talking about 8 to 10 hours, or even more, of sitting each day. Now think about what sitting for long periods actually does to your body. It slows down your circulation. It reduces lymphatic drainage. It increases inflammation. It weakens the pelvic muscles and changes the way your lower abdomen and groin area function. This stagnant environment creates a physiological bottleneck in the pelvic region. Blood flow is compromised. Waste removal slows. The prostate gland becomes a sitting duck, pun intended, for toxic buildup, oxidative stress, and inflammation. And these conditions, over time, contribute to cellular mutations and ultimately cancer. But it goes deeper than just circulation. A sedentary lifestyle, marked by frequent sitting, also alters your hormonal balance. Testosterone levels begin to fluctuate. Estrogen activity can increase relative to testosterone in aging men who don't stay physically active. And this imbalance, in several studies, has been linked to higher rates of prostate cancer. Here's something even more alarming. In one study conducted by a leading medical university, researchers followed over 30,000 men over a 10-year period. They found that men who sat for more than 6 hours a day had significantly higher levels of prostate-specific antigen, or PSA. Elevated PSA is one of the earliest biomarkers for prostate problems, including cancer. Even after adjusting for weight, age, and lifestyle factors, the link between prolonged sitting and prostate dysfunction remained strong. It turns out that extended sitting isn't just bad for your back, it's directly impacting your hormonal health and organ function. The habit seems harmless. You're not smoking, you're not drinking excessively, but your body registers this stillness as neglect. The pelvic region, an area already prone to issues due to aging, gets starved of movement, oxygen, and muscular tone. The consequences compound day after day, year after year. You may be wondering, is it really that serious? I've been sitting like this for years. That's the scary part. Most men don't feel the damage until it's already far along. Early-stage prostate cancer doesn't scream for attention. It whispers. Maybe you feel more urgency to urinate at night. Maybe you're waking up more tired. Maybe your libido isn't what it used to be. These are subtle signs. And because they're common in aging, they often go ignored. And here's where things get even more fascinating and frightening. Sitting also compresses the perineum, the soft area between the anus and the scrotum. This compression, when constant, puts pressure on the prostate itself. Over time, this mechanical stress can lead to inflammation of the gland. And we know inflammation is one of the key players in the development and progression of cancer. Several new medical reports are showing that chronic inflammation in the prostate, especially in the absence of bacterial infection, is strongly associated with higher grades of prostate cancer. This means the more inflamed your prostate is from long hours of sitting, the greater the risk that if cancer does form, it will be aggressive. Now let's be clear, sitting isn't the only factor. But the reason it's so dangerous is because it's invisible. It doesn't come with a warning label. No one tells you your favorite recliner might be compromising your cellular health. But think about it. Even smokers see health warnings on their cigarette packs. Who warns you about the hours spent motionless in front of the TV or at your computer? The truth is, the body was designed for movement. Muscles were meant to contract and release. Blood was meant to circulate dynamically. The lymphatic system, your body's waste disposal network, relies entirely on motion. When we stop moving, everything slows down. And in men over 60 who are already vulnerable to lower testosterone, reduced immune response, and declining muscle mass, this can tip the scales dangerously in favor of disease. But here's the twist. This daily habit is entirely within your control. That's both the terrifying and the empowering part. You don't need a prescription. You don't need expensive treatments. You just need awareness and a willingness to shift how you live your daily life. Now here's the part that might really make you shake your head. Why aren't more doctors talking about this? Why is prolonged sitting, something we do every day, not considered a major health threat? Well, the answer lies in how modern healthcare operates. Doctors are trained to treat symptoms and diseases, not habits. They're often racing the clock with each patient, prescribing medications and scheduling tests, with little time to address the root causes of chronic conditions. When a man in his 70s walks into a clinic with prostate issues, the first things he's given are pills, maybe a PSA test, and sometimes even referred for a biopsy. But how often do they ask, how long do you sit each day? Do you take breaks to move your body? How strong are your pelvic muscles? These questions could save lives, yet they're rarely asked. You see, we live in a culture that praises rest, relaxation, and retirement as a time to finally slow down. But slowing down doesn't mean stopping entirely. Retirement should never be synonymous with immobility. The danger is that inactivity becomes normalized and the health consequences become invisible. Let's go back to that retired man we mentioned earlier. He's sitting most of the day. He thinks he's earned the right to relax, and he absolutely has. But here's the catch. The body still expects movement. The prostate doesn't care whether you're working or retired. It just responds to the internal environment you create. And if that environment is one of stagnation, inflammation, and compression, then the risks increase dramatically. But here's the good news. This isn't a death sentence. In fact, this is one of the most reversible risks you'll ever face. Unlike genetics, which you can't control, or aging, which is inevitable, how often you move, how you sit, and how you hydrate, these are completely in your hands. First, let's talk hydration. Many seniors unknowingly compound the problem of prolonged sitting by not drinking enough water. The logic seems simple: less water, fewer trips to the bathroom. But here's the problem. When you're dehydrated, your urine becomes more concentrated, which increases the irritation of the bladder and surrounding tissues, including the prostate. Concentrated urine can contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation and make prostate symptoms worse. On top of that, poor hydration reduces circulation efficiency. Your blood becomes thicker and more sluggish. Oxygen delivery decreases. Nutrient transport slows. Waste removal from tissues, including the prostate, is impaired. All of this adds fuel to the fire. Now add poor posture to the mix. If you sit hunched over, with your pelvis tilted back and your abdominal muscles relaxed, you're putting additional pressure on your lower abdomen. The internal organs, including the prostate, become compressed. Blood and lymphatic flow are reduced. Tissues are deprived of the movement-based stimulation they need to stay healthy. You've heard the phrase, "motion is lotion"? That applies to your internal organs too. When you move, you massage your organs. You stimulate nerves. You encourage blood to circulate where it's needed most. And when you sit still in the same position for hours, all that stimulation shuts down. Let's pause here and ask a critical question. If we know prolonged sitting and inactivity are so dangerous for prostate health, why do so many older men still fall into this habit? The answer is heartbreaking. Many don't know, others feel too tired, and some believe it's already too late. But listen closely, it's never too late to turn things around. In fact, studies have shown that even men in their 70s and 80s who increase their movement can see improvements in PSA levels, urinary symptoms, and overall prostate comfort. And these changes don't require running marathons. They don't require joining a gym or lifting heavy weights. They require consistency, awareness, and simple changes. Let me share a real-world story. A man named Peter, age 76, had dealt with prostate issues for nearly a decade. He was used to frequent urination, discomfort, and a persistent fear of cancer. But what changed everything wasn't a new drug or surgery. It was a shift in his daily routine. Every hour, he began standing up and walking for just 5 minutes. He added a few pelvic exercises in the morning. He improved his posture while sitting. And he increased his water intake by just 1 extra glass per meal. Within 3 months, his symptoms had reduced so much that his doctor actually lowered his medication dosage. That's the power of movement. It doesn't just make you feel better, it can actually change your internal physiology. Your hormones start to rebalance, inflammation markers drop, circulation improves, waste is cleared more efficiently, and your prostate gets the support it needs to function optimally. But here's the part most people miss. It's not just about sitting less. It's about interrupting long periods of sitting with brief, purposeful movement. You don't have to fear your favorite chair or stop watching your favorite shows. What matters is that you build micro movements into your routine. These small moments add up to a big difference. And there's another layer to this: your mental health. Sedentary behavior is linked not just to physical decline, but to depression and anxiety, especially in seniors. When you move, your brain releases endorphins. You feel more awake, more alive, more connected to your body. And that mental energy carries over into every area of your health, including your resilience to illness. Now, we promised a twist at the end. And here it is. You've been told to be cautious of red meat, alcohol, and smoking. And yes, those are valid concerns. But the silent, invisible habit that could be doing the most harm may be your chair. That recliner, your favorite seat at the dinner table. That sofa you sink into after a long day. It may be the most dangerous object in your home. Not because it's inherently evil, but because of what it invites. Stillness without awareness. And that changes today. Because now you can move with purpose. Now you can sit with intention. Now you can drink your water not just to quench your thirst, but to protect your cells. Now you can become an advocate for your own prostate health, not by doing something radical, but by doing something incredibly human, moving, standing, stretching, and living with vitality. You don't need fear, you need knowledge. And that's exactly what we aim to give you at our source for proven senior health guidance. If you found this eye-opening, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. We have more powerful, practical videos coming your way. Stay with us for the next segment, where we explore specific movements you can do at home to keep your pelvic area healthy, exercises that actually activate blood flow to the prostate, and the surprising breathing technique that may enhance circulation in just 90 seconds. So you might be thinking, okay, I get it. Sitting for too long is bad for my prostate. But what can I realistically do now to change that? Good. That question is exactly what separates men who decline into discomfort from those who grow stronger, even with age. Because this is not about just knowing, it's about doing. Let's talk about the power of targeted movement. You see, not all movement is created equal. You can walk for hours and still miss the areas that need attention most. What matters now is activating blood flow and muscular support around the pelvic region, where your prostate lives. That means engaging the hips, the lower abdomen, and the perineum. There's one group of exercises that's especially powerful for this: pelvic floor activations. Some people call them Kegels, but when done properly by men, they go beyond simple squeezes. They reconnect you to muscles most men have ignored for decades. Start by sitting upright in a firm chair, not slouching, and imagining that you're trying to stop the flow of urine midstream. Hold that internal squeeze for about 3 seconds, then release. Repeat it slowly with controlled breathing. This one action activates muscles that directly support the prostate. With consistency, you're improving the health of your entire lower urinary tract. But let's go further. Every time you stand up after sitting for an hour, you create what researchers call a circulatory refresh. You're telling your veins, arteries, and lymph nodes to start moving again. Add a few gentle hip circles or knee raises to that moment, and suddenly you're flooding the area with fresh, oxygen-rich blood. And here's something hardly anyone talks about: the breath. Yes, how you breathe can influence your pelvic health. When you take shallow chest breaths, you miss out on the power of your diaphragm. But when you breathe deeply into your belly, your diaphragm pushes downward. This movement gently massages your internal organs, including the prostate, and helps maintain circulation and lymphatic flow. Try this right now. Sit up tall. Inhale slowly through your nose and let your stomach expand. Now exhale through your mouth, tightening your belly gently at the end. Do this for just 90 seconds. That's it. Research has shown that this kind of breath work not only reduces blood pressure and calms your nervous system, but also improves circulation to hard-to-reach internal tissues. Do this a few times a day, especially after long periods of sitting, and you're giving your body a tool it's been craving. Another vital step: look at how you sit. Are you perched at the edge of the chair with your weight supported through your thighs and spine? Or are you sinking back, letting your tailbone and lower back do all the work? The second posture puts pressure on your pelvic organs. The first allows for a healthy curve in your lower spine and reduces compression on the prostate. A small cushion behind your lower back can help you maintain that position if needed. Now let's step into an even broader view. It's easy to think prostate cancer risk is something far off, something that happens to other people. But here's the truth. Many prostate issues don't start with obvious symptoms. They begin silently. And those early micro-decisions, the hour of sitting, the skipped glass of water, the shallow breath, either support your health or slowly chip away at it. The twist isn't that sitting is dangerous. It's that you have far more control over your prostate health than anyone's ever told you. That chair isn't just furniture, it's a decision. A decision you make 100 times a day, and with each decision, you either improve your future or compromise it. There's a word we don't use enough when talking about senior health: resilience. The ability to bounce back, to rebuild, to transform weakness into strength. You still have that, whether you're 65 or 85, whether your prostate is healthy or already showing signs of wear. You have the power to create a different outcome starting today. Let's bring this closer to home. Picture two men, both 74. One spends most of his day reclined, watching TV, unaware of how the hours pass. The other breaks up his day with movement. He hydrates, does his breathing, and maintains strong posture. They look similar on the outside, but inside, on a cellular level, they're worlds apart. One body is stagnant, the other alive with circulation and oxygen. One is slowly inviting disease, the other is building defense against it. And the most powerful thing? You get to choose which man you are. Not by buying expensive supplements or undergoing risky procedures, but by honoring the body you've lived in for decades. By respecting it enough to give it what it needs now more than ever: motion, strength, breath, and awareness. So, where do you start? Start with awareness. Count how many hours you sit in a day. Not roughly, track it, be honest. Then, set a simple rule. Every 60 minutes, stand up, stretch, breathe, move. Drink one more glass of water today than you did yesterday. Correct your posture once each hour. No pressure, just presence. And finally, do one small pelvic floor activation every morning and evening. These are small steps. But small steps are what make up the journey toward real, lasting health. You're not powerless. You're not too old. You're not too late. You are the captain of this ship. And today, you just turned the wheel. If you've watched this far, you've already shown a powerful commitment to your own health. And that makes you a rare breed. Don't let this knowledge go to waste. Apply it, share it, and most importantly, live it. We're proud to be your source for proven senior health guidance. Our goal is to help you live longer, stronger, and more confidently, with the clarity that comes from understanding your body, not fearing it. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more updates. We've got more in-depth content coming soon.